sometimes what is he doing with Brent?
Thanks.
That's a joke.
Yeah, we agree with you, Brent.
Mr. Franklin, dear Franklin.
Yep.
So now I see you're really big in front of me, so it's easy for me to watch.
Sounds good. I like your
Yeah.
shirt up on the wall.
Yes, it's a collector's item.
Yep. This year we just decided they're going to be John Deere green and yellow.
John Deere green and yellow.
John Deere
Yeah,
tractors.
yeah.
It's going to be green shirt with yellow lettering, but the same design because we're
Oh,
on the farm.
okay. Did you have some more light there? You're sitting a
In here
little
I'm
bit.
kind of dark,
Yeah.
right? It's behind me. I don't. Let me see. I see if I can lighten it up a bit. It's always a problem I've had. Let me turn the backlights off, so maybe I'll light up in front. Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still kind of dodgy.
It's okay. So how are the Dick and Dan? How are they doing?
Doing good. I just Dan is having a bit of a leg problem. We're not sure if it's arthritis or something.
Hmm.
So we went up and put his plaid jacket on him to keep him warm while he's outside today. See if we're giving him some new anti-inflammatory medicine that'll hopefully get him good. But they're all feisty as ever and doing good.
I don't know the name of the third one. The
Ferdinand,
Icelander, right?
yeah, the Icelandic one. The one he's
Yeah.
still he's still daring you to come ride him.
If he's not trying to get a nap. So this is our second interview because the other one uh, I had some technical issues, so I just said I want to do it uh, a part two
Sure.
because you're doing for more than 30 years
Yes.
Highland games, so I think you have a lot to tell. And the first one was short, but so that's
Yeah.
why.
Glad to do it again. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So Brent, Highland Games. Where did you see it for the first time that you thought, okay, I want to give it a try?
Yeah, I was moving from Texas to Arizona, and right before I left Texas, I heard that there was a Scottish Highland Games there, but I didn't get to go. And then I saw that in Arizona there was a Scottish society that put on the games, so I joined them, and I volunteered to help out with facilities and to help with the athletics. And so that was in 1991, and they had a novice group, C class group for people who hadn't done it before or whatever.
Yeah,
So there was four of us, and we did it. They only let us do four events or something like that. And so I had just I just come back when I was between moves. I went to Scotland and I got fitted for my kilt. So I just got my kilt, and it was a little bit before that. So I competed, and I think I got second or something like that. Got a couple medals, and I said, okay, this is definitely for me. So I
yeah.
was hooked from there on out.
Uh, but did you do some track and field on school, or was
Not really,
everything
just
new for you?
yeah. So it was in junior high. I did track and field. In high school, I did wrestling and football, but lifted
Yeah,
weights. we lifted weights a lot for that,
Yeah.
and then nothing in college. Um, but always I didn't even know about my Scottish heritage till it was like 89 or 90. We were our family came over to the U.S. in the early 1800s from Northern Ireland, so
Yeah.
we kind of thought we were Irish, but we weren't. We were Scottish Scottish Protestants.
That's the
That,
Abbott spot.
it was actually the Abbott's my father's adopted name. Irvin is the name that came over
Yeah.
from Northern Ireland. They moved
Yeah.
from Scotland to Northern Ireland
Hmm.
and then to the U.S. And then so my father's name is last name's Irvin. It's a family in southern Scotland, and that's the tartan we wear. And on the direct male descendant, they did a DNA thing, so I'm a direct male descendant of the Irvin clan.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So after that, you decide, okay, I continue with competitions and throwing. Did you go to the gym also? Because I know on this age you now have you don't do anything about gym.
Yep. I didn't really. I went to gym occasionally for conditioning and cardio, but not really for strength. So didn't really do the gym. I just when I started getting into it, I just tried to get the implements and learn how to throw. And
Yeah.
I'm still kind of that way too. Several years back, I thought, hey, let's try going to the gym, doing squats and deadlifts and things like that.
Yeah.
And and it made me stronger, but it really didn't help my throwing because I wasn't throwing as much. But so on things where I thought they would help me, like weight for height, I decided to start spinning so I could compete with those really strong guys that lift
Yeah.
weights. So I've gone on the side of and then there was it was hurting my knees, so I had to lay off the lifting and came back to just throwing, and that's done really well for me.
And the technique, did you find it out by yourself or?
Yeah, asking everybody at first, trying stuff, and then learning from people at the games, and as it got more widespread, there was one time, if you remember Ryan Vieira, I
Hmm.
went up to his house for a weekend. He had kind of like a training weekend package, so went in and stayed with him and his family, and trained for 2 days. That was probably the only real big training I had, and on that. So other than that, we're throwing with friends. We're trying to put it together ourselves, figure out what we're doing wrong, help each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes we knew what we were doing, sometimes we didn't, and then as the games got more widespread over the years, people knew better what to do and not to do, even though there
Yeah.
wasn't, no one had a book or thing and stuff
Now,
like that. We just had to share
now,
tips back and forth.
now you have YouTube.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't always used to have that.
Yeah. What was the hardest part back then? The wait for distance or something?
Um, what was the hardest for me? At first, I was it was caber tossing because no one really had a caber to practice with.
Yeah.
And then I remember one time I bought a caber and I got it made at Home Depot and got it delivered um, and then I broke it the first time. So anyway, so once I got a caber of my own and a place to practice
Yeah.
in Phoenix, I went from caber being my worst to caber being my best because I could practice with it, and most people didn't have cabers to practice with. So
Oh.
that was it. But so caber's one of my best and one of my favorites. The other things were hard was I've always sucked at stones, and it's but they were all hard. The hardest thing was getting implements because there
Yeah.
was no people that sold them. Everyone had to make their own kind of thing. It was a
Yeah.
long time before there was people who made them commercially. So you kind of had to kind of make your own. Like I had concrete hammerheads. I had coffee cans full of lead weights melted down with a handle on them, and it broke here and there. But that
Yeah.
was something. And then eventually, like Bobby Dodd, heavy gear, and other people started making them. It made it a lot easier for me and for everybody else to have good implements to practice with. Otherwise, you had to go. get with a crew, like a team or a club, and
Hmm.
they go together and do regular practices, and usually had a good assortment of weights that you could use there. That's what we had to depend on in the past because it wasn't widespread. It wasn't like it is now, and there weren't commercial sources for equipment and stuff.
Uh, and what was your best game until you became a master?
Best game before I became a master. Um, I mean, what I threw the best at, or
Yeah, best
okay.
result, American champion, whatever. I don't know.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was just happy to win an A games here and there. I
Yeah,
was just. I'd moved up from C to B to A.
yeah,
Um, got my ass handed to me several times as an A, but then I learned how to spin the weight for height for at 56. I probably couldn't do it now, but so that helped me there. Hey, let me think. I think I was no, I just won a couple A games was probably the best. Oh, the one thing that I hold fun. It's funny was I won an A competition in Wyoming. The Utah group would hold the games in Jackson Hole, and Mike
okay,
Bukowski,
yeah,
who was a pro for a while, that was his first games, and I was throwing against him, and he was new, so he was just figuring it out, and he was a track and field guy, and I beat him there. So I always hold that over his head that I beat Mike Bukowski, and before he was actually good at anything. But every time he threw, he got better by leaps and bounds, like the weight
yeah,
for distance and stuff. Like
yeah,
don't give him any extra throws because he's figuring this out too fast. But that was fun. So just winning a couple A games. I never did anything spectacular in the A's. I did get to go to. There's two pro games, Tucson and Phoenix. They just needed someone else to fill out the roster of 10,
yeah.
and so I was kind of filler in for that. I wasn't really competitive,
A filler?
but yeah, just I was just filler. Is take the last slot. I was cannon fodder for those guys to beat up on me. But it's always
Yeah,
good to throw with them because they give you tips and stuff like that, and always learn
yeah,
some good stuff from the pros. But I did beat at least one pro in one event in those games, so I didn't finish completely last.
yeah. Well, you learn a lot then.
Yep, learned a lot, and
Hmm.
it's a lot of fun.
And then you became a master and already a two times world champion.
Yep, that worked
How's
out
that?
good. It was good.
2014 was the first one, right?
15 was the first one I
15.
won. Yeah. And you see, the first games I went to was what was it? It was 20 2013. 2013. Yeah, the in Illinois. It was a. I just turned 40 like the day before, and I had never done sheath before. Some guy in the parking lot taught me how to
Yeah,
do sheath, and there
yeah,
was like 30 guys in my class, the youngest class, and I was happy to finish like sixth or something like that out of
mm,
that, and do respectable on the sheath, even though I'd never done it before. And I don't know who that guy was. I'd like to thank him because he made sheath one of my favorite events. And,
yeah. You hold the world record someday? I don't know.
yeah, at one time I held the world record for master's sheath at 34 feet in 50s, one of the 50s classes. I
Yeah,
think someone's beat that by a little bit now. Um, I think I might have a 12-pound sheaf record now. I had, I had at the Worlds this year. I got 18 feet in the weight for height, which would have been a world record if if Randy McClure didn't pull a 19 footer out of his butt at the last minute and set the records up higher. So he's a
okay.
hard act to follow.
Yeah.
But I think I'd when I first turned 60 and threw the lighter hammers and weights, I was able to. I got three different world records on one day there, and it was on the hammer weight and hammer weight, and I can't remember what else, but I had three in one day at Springfield, so that was a nice day.
Hmm. So two times world champion. The second one was in Stuttgart.
Yeah, Stuttgart in 18.
Yeah.
I tied with Mark McDonald on points, and so they split the tie by number of firsts. So I had four, and he had three. So just barely eked that out. But
Yeah.
I'm glad to have it. It's the first time I ever beat Mark McDonald. You know, he'd been a champion for several years,
Yeah.
and has done very well. But whether he's had knee issues and everything like that, he came up because he goes, "You've weathered the aging better than I have." So
He's still training and throwing. So
mhm. That's
mm,
what we all hope to do. Try to stay healthy for the rest of your life, so you can
yeah,
do it as long as you can.
healthy with some struggles.
How's your health? How's your knees and joints?
Ah, I'm I I'm okay, but I have some old man stuff. So I'm I'm going to the 60 also, and to the 60. Next month I become 50, 70. What do you say? 57, 57. Yeah. So
57.
yeah, I have some struggles now. My back, my arm, then this, then that, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
you got to learn when not to push it too hard sometimes.
yeah, I
Yeah,
do a little bit slow down my gym and workouts and put more effort in throwing. So
I think that's a good way to
yeah,
go.
yeah,
So
and
you're coming out to visit me for my games, right?
yeah, sure, yeah. We are already looking now for a ticket for a flight.
All right, good. Well, I promise to have less rain and less cicadas. We had deafening amount of cicadas in the trees last year. It
Is
was
that
one of those.
is that each year or?
No, it's every 17 years. They call them
Oh,
17-year
okay,
cicadas. Yeah. So last
okay.
year they were that was the year, and they were loud in the trees and flying everywhere,
So
and
we were lucky to hear them and meet them.
yeah. Well, you call that lucky. Noise gets old after a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be quieter this time, and so we're.
Well, the area is great for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were very fortunate to have a nice field I could level, and the grass is getting better quality, and fertilizing it and taking really good care of it it'll be even better this year than
Yeah.
last year.
And the Ryan Segment games, are you going there too? Also?
We're looking at it. My daughter wants to go
Yeah.
take him, maybe Gretchen and I, and then my two kids go out there and support on his, but we haven't decided yet.
No. No. So when we doing a travel, I always like to see. For example, last year we went where they shot John Dillinger.
Mhm.
No, and we also would like to see some Bonnie and Clyde stuff where they have been and those
Uh-huh.
things from Al
Oh yeah.
Capone. And, yeah,
Oh yeah. You can go almost every place in the U.S. has some good history.
yeah,
In Southern Illinois, here there was some of they had some hideouts. They just demolished one that was from some of the Capone crew would come down to Southern Illinois to hide out
yeah,
while things and before they go back up. And there's not a lot of landmarks around here for that. The nearest thing of history is Fort du Châtre, which was it used to be French. The French owned it before the Louisiana Purchase, and so it's an old French fort that they've redone. That's just down the road, and
yeah,
they have reenactments and traders and flintlocks and stuff like
yeah,
that. So
uh,
and then there's hills. There's Indian mounds from the mound building Indians from a long time ago, from
yeah, yeah.
like a 1,000 years before or something like that.
I al-
Yeah,
I also I also know the where's that Fort Summer in New Mexico where Billy the Kid lived.
oh yeah. Hmm.
Those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, we'd go up to Prescott, Arizona, which used to be the territorial capital of the Arizona Territory before it became state. And there was a lot of famous people that would go through there
Yeah,
from the old West, and they still have some of the really old original bars up there
yeah,
and things like that. And then they have the nation's oldest continuous rodeo that they have every year up there.
yeah.
But
I also got to Tombstone with Jason.
oh yeah,
It's also
I,
a
I,
lit-
I never went there. Was that fun?
yeah, yeah, fun to watch. Yeah, yeah. So hey, Brent, going back to the Masters, I think we first met in 2013 Norway at
Yep,
the legendary Masters competition in Andoy.
yep. And oh yeah,
Yeah,
and once we found out we were both big Depeche Mode fans, we immediately bonded.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I still remember. I still remember it was a night and it was slightly overcast, and but the northern lights were coming out,
yeah,
and they were behind the clouds, so it looks like someone was shining a green flashlight on the back of the clouds.
yeah,
And I remember you and I being so thrilled, even though they were behind the clouds, we were thrilled. It was the first northern lights we ever got to see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was an amazing, amazing
Mhm.
weekend.
Yep. I
Yeah,
remember the boggy field. It was hard to throw the caber because every time you'd carry the caber, and
yeah,
every time you stopped the pull, you could feel your feet pushing down into the into the bog as you tried to do the caber.
yeah.
But old Svenig there, it was a great time to have him there.
And
And
Gert Stegeman threw the hammer 3 times in the same hole.
who did that?
Gert Stegeman.
Oh, Stegeman.
Yeah,
Okay, I
three
forgot
times.
about that.
Oh,
That's
he he
that's consistency. That's precision.
he sometimes uh, tells me that, so
I
I can't
forgot.
I can't forget.
I forgot about that.
No, no, no. And then 14 we did Inverness,
Yep.
also Trebsen, Germany. You won
Yep.
there.
Yep. That was fun. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a road trip. It was a fun road trip. You and I
yeah,
and Gert and my wife went down there. It was a little rainy that
yeah,
day, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
we threw anyway, and we didn't do the best, but but we did good for the weather, I think, and that was a fun trip.
yeah,
And I liked it was nice to it was nice about that games that you usually don't get in the US is you get some reimbursement for travel funds and stuff. That was really very nice as well.
yeah, yeah. But if you have to pick out one or maybe 2 or 3 games, and in those 30 years, what's one of your favorite one? Yeah, that's a hard question.
You should have told me ahead of time so I could think about it. Of course, of
Surprise.
course, of course, the ones where you win, have a special place. St. Louis games in 2015 and Stuttgart. Stuttgart was good because not only won, but it was a big deal to be able to beat Mark McDonald and was it Hans Dieter?
Yeah,
Strong guys. It was great to stand on the podium with these strong guys on either side of you. It's like, hey, I actually beat these guys. And then my family was with us. Jason was throwing, and it was a trip. And then even some family friends from local area around here were actually vacationing in Germany, so they came by too. And the first time they saw me throwing was throwing the caber, and Mark was kicking my ass in that, and I wasn't throwing so well. So I'm just like, damn, I hope I do better than that. So one overall. Always enjoyed, of course, the Phoenix games. The We enjoyed going to the Utah games, the old ones that were down in Lehigh. They always put on a good show and did a strong
hmm
man ahead of time. What else we enjoyed? We missed those games, but uh, yeah, I'd say it's hard to beat the ones you you actually win in to do it. But
Yeah. What keeps you motivated to continue? You're over 60, 64, I guess?
61.
61, I'm sorry.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Look it up.
I probably look like I'm 64, especially with my old man readers on for the computer. But no, just proud of the heritage. It's been a big part of our life. We've made great friends over the years, including yourself and others.
Yeah.
It's a fellowship and a community that we enjoy. We enjoy helping out others get into it and learn. And because there were really not a lot of mentors when I got in, so it's people can be interested, but they don't know how to do to get into it. So we're glad to help, including having our own games for everybody. And we have a potluck dinner the night before. It's a 3 day weekend, so we try to make it a fun weekend of it because we enjoy the fellowship of it all. The
Yeah.
competition is good,
Yeah.
and that's always good, and it gives me a reason to work out, and do strength training through the year, and it's good. It's just good to do that in general,
Yeah.
So seeing everybody and having a whiskey and catching up with friends you've had for years is the reward, and an excuse to and something to drive for working out and exercising.
Uh, and this year, what will be your first competition?
The local games, I'm on the board of a local group called, Gateway Caberman is a
Yeah.
group, and they're starting to they've started off just as a throwing club, but now they're putting on games too. They're going to have an April Fool's game in April, beginning of April.
Yeah.
And then my games will probably be, no, then there's St. Louis games and then mine at the end of May.
Yeah.
So those will be the first ones. I'll probably do more games this year than I had before. During COVID, we did 1 or 0 games per year. So it's
Yeah.
good to get back in the stream so they can keep us going. It's always focused on the Masters Worlds for me, how I'm doing there, and trying to do my best for that. And
Uh,
that's in October, so hope to get in a lot of games before that.
it's in
For
Mississippi, Missouri,
Yep, Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yeah.
I wish it was Missouri, but it's Mississippi.
A little bit
Yeah.
further.
Yep, exactly. See if I
Yeah.
can. I gotta always get after. There's plenty of challenge there trying to catch up with Rusty McClure. He's an amazing strong guy and an amazing thrower. And I'd like to hate him, but such a nice guy.
Yeah. Hate him in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's my target. Like I said, I was really excited to get 18 feet on the weight for height in Florida, and then the problem is that fires him up, and he stands and he pulled a 19 footer just standing there. I'm like, oh my god, am I ever going to catch up with this guy?
That's
I even,
amazing.
as a joke, when I was on Facebook, I knew we were going to be competing at Worlds, and I knew he's an avid fisherman, so I sent him a fake thing saying that he wanted a full expense paid fishing vacation for the weekend of the games.
Yeah.
And his son pipes in. He goes, "I'll do it, Dad." And I go, "It was just a joke, guys. Just."
Oh.
But I'd paid for it. I'll pay for it anytime he wants to go, though. During the
So
games.
he took it a little bit serious.
Oh no, he knew better. He knew
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
He knows I'm a joker kind of guy.
Did you
He
have
doesn't.
some uh, the weather in Florida last year? But what was it? The big
Kind of rainy.
storm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't a big storm. It was just rainy. It was it was kind of bad at points, but it wasn't so bad that it shut everything down. And they moved a lot of the events inside into the big
Yeah.
stadium, which was nice. Um, the I'd like to say it's an excuse for throwing bad, but I actually threw good. And the only thing I even got a third place in the open stone, which I was very happy about. The Braemar stone was ugly shaped thing. I just could not find a handle on it, and it was wet. Trying to keep it dry,
Yeah.
so I was just trying to keep from losing a lot of points on the stones. Even though stones I practice more than anything else because they're one of my worst events. But
They
I'm getting better. I may by the time I retire, I'll probably have figured out how to throw stones.
but they did some events also inside.
Sorry.
They did some events inside.
Yep, yep. They had all the
Yeah.
chief standards in there. and then they eventually moved in
The Capers
a
and so.
stone
Yeah,
trig, and then the
yeah.
cavers, right? And to me, that was the best to do
We
cavers.
because yeah, sheaf. A lot of Europeans don't like the sheaf, but some of them do. But
Well,
I
once they get it in more games, it really catches on, and people really like it after a while. I remember
yeah.
it was new to me. I was a master. My first masters games was that for
Well,
sheaf.
a part of my family is a farmer, so I think I have that from them.
Yep, my
Uh,
grandparents were farmers too. Yep.
yeah,
So I'll take that task. I'll pick out and make you a sheaf fork of your own,
yeah,
and maybe I can find you a travel bag for it too, so we can um,
yeah,
check it as a on the airlines. And then you
uh,
can have it for the other games that you're going to do when you're come over to the states. So we'll get you taken care of, no problem.
yeah. Well, thank you very much.
I should
Um,
send you a bunch. I should send a bunch home with you so you can sell them or give them to your friends.
no, 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 no. I want to have a limited edition Charlie Rivers Abbott fork.
That's it. We'll engrave it to
Yeah,
endorsed by two world champions and former world record holder in the sheaf.
yeah. So, Brent, did you have any other hobbies or things like that?
You're-
Music, films, movies. I mean, and
well, yeah,
whiskey.
I'm really good at watching TV.
Yeah,
The way I figure it, the TV isn't going to watch itself. But as you know, I've played bagpipes occasionally.
yeah.
I played at the church midnight Christmas service, and then at their New Year's Eve service and stuff. So it got me back into a little bit of practice.
I still have the video you played. No, I have two videos. One from Norway, and
Mhm.
the other one is from we were in Arizona, and uh, Jason and Kirsty. Was it the daughter or the son? Was his birthday in October, November, Arizona?
Yeah, yeah. It's November for Torsten.
For Thorsten, yeah, right. So you played Happy Birthday.
Yeah, he probably went like this too. I think.
No, no, no. I still have the video.
Oh, cool. Well, I have
Yeah.
to, have to show that. I haven't seen that in a while. And
Okay.
then I used to do. I'm busy because we're in we got a small startup that we're spending a lot of time. We're putting up our next satellite, small satellite, in
Yeah.
March on SpaceX launch, and so we're trying to keep this company up and going. We've only about 25 people,
Because
so
because that is your job, right? Working
right, that's
with
my job.
satellites. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the chief revenue officer, and then I do some engineering as well. So I'm responsible for getting a business into the company and stuff. So we've been
Yeah.
very busy and keeping the money coming in and stuff. So that keeps me busy too.
You you
Occasionally used to do ham radio stuff.
you work from out of home, or you
Yeah,
also go into the office.
work from home. The office is in New Hampshire, and about two-thirds, maybe two-thirds to half of the staff are not in that area. They're on the East Coast. I'm the only one in the Midwest, and then there's some on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So we kind of spread around. The company kind of started during COVID, so being split up wasn't a problem and was ideal in a way. So
Yeah.
we all got. I was working for a company that was another space company that had Rogue. The name is Rogue Space Systems as a customer. So I got to know them. So when
Hmm.
my contract was up with the Lithuanian space company, then I came to work for them, and they brought me on, and it's been great. So that's been keeping most of our time busy, and then mucking stalls for the horses and keeping track of the horses, and then we're hunting and trapping on the property here. Um, I got a deer last year. I didn't get one this year, but my brother and John McClure, if you remember, Big John McClure came out
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
hunt, and he got his first deer ever this last season. So we got the deer meat in the freezer, and that's always a fun thing to do here. And then we got the pool we'll uncover around our games time. Come out so we can have some barbecue, beer, whiskey pool parties while you're out, hopefully.
Yeah. Tornadoes.
Yep, yep. Got tons of things to do. And did I send you a picture of my throwing room?
Yeah, you were working on that last year.
Let me. I can either share or I can just send it to you on email if you want the
Yeah.
last couple of pictures. You can put those up. I've just installed the lighting on it. It's a building I built to have to put the tractor in, put the cables in, to put
Yeah.
the horse trailer in, and then the other half had enclosed, and then put up these big curtain walls so that I could throw into the the weather was bad outside, and you could still throw weights, stones,
Oh yeah.
hammers,
Yeah.
and yeah. So let me send you a picture real quick in case you want to use it for anything. And good. So I just got the lighting in and got a generator. I've got a heater. I got to get the plumbing set up to run it off propane, and then I've got an air conditioner that we'll use in the
How big
summertime.
is it? How big is it? Yeah, I have seen it outside, but
It's 30 feet by it's roughly 31 feet by 31 feet, and then
okay.
probably
Yeah.
about I'd say 20 feet, 15, 20 feet ceiling. I can't remember, but I just got the lights put up in there and the generators in the room, and you can see in the picture some of the carpet wall. So hopefully I'll have that up and going, so I don't have any excuses not to get out. You know, can't do caber in there, can't do sheaf, um, but that's okay. There's keep busy with a lot of other stuff. Can't do weight for height, but I've got the standards up there on the what we
Yeah.
call Mount Monroe. You remember the standards there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can also practice the sheave inside.
No, can't. As I said, you
Okay.
can't do sheaf and you can't do caber or weight for
Weight
height in the room.
weight over bar.
Right. Weight over
Yeah.
bar. You have to still do that outside. So when it's rainy and bad weather or whatever, you can come in here and do the other events. And then when it's nice, you can go
You
out and
don't
do
have an excuse.
exactly, exactly. No excuses. And Kirsty's going to get me a big disco ball to hang in the middle. So we're
All right then.
jamming out the tunes and
How is she
throwing.
doing?
She's doing great. She's
Yeah.
have you seen her new website?
No.
Um,
Send me a link. I will watch.
okay, yeah, it's thistles, stars and thistles. She's selling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember now? Okay, yeah,
Yeah. I'm
she's
sorry.
been
Yeah.
doing. She's running her own clinic, the
Yeah.
Highland Dames, and selling tacky and shirts
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I think one of the shirts is good. There you go. There you go. Yep, stars and thistles. And she just made some custom shirts for me and Gretchen,
Yeah.
which is nice. And
Yeah.
so she's a business girl there. I told her I may have been involved with a lot of startups, but I've never started my own company. So I was really proud of her and stuff. And
Yeah.
she's taking some pride in that as
Good
well.
job. Good job.
Hmm.
Nice shirts also. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, she'll be here throwing at the my games too. And then, like you said, we were
Yeah.
talking about potentially she wants to come to Springfield games. I think the Chatham Springfield, Illinois games is going to be some type of women's championship
Is that
or something.
the Apes Highland Games?
I don't know which one it is. I thought it was like the Chatham.
Abraham Lincoln.
I don't think it's the Abe games. I think it's
Oh,
the ones in Chatham near Springfield. I think I don't know for sure, but
okay.
so she's thinking about coming for that, and then that's way she could bring the grandkids to come stay with us for a couple of weeks before we send them back. We always get the grandkids come stay with us for a couple of weeks in the summertime, where
Yeah.
it's basically sleeping or in the pool.
Well, that's fun. That's
Yep,
fun.
they enjoy it. Yep. Anyway,
So,
what
see,
other games were you? What other games were you planning
somewhere
to
in
do?
the area, the Dallas.
So not to Alaska. Alaska games out. There's a Hawaii games that weekend. No, I'm just kidding.
I think we better can rent a helicopter and not another car.
Yeah, well, I'll see what we got. That's prime game season. You know, May through June. So
Yeah,
there should be some more to consider. So I'll take a look for you, see what I can find too.
yeah. I also have a chat with Doug Barry and Michael Dickens, but I never knew that there was a lot of games in Texas in the winter, December.
Hmm. Florida, Southern California, and Texas can have good games,
Yeah,
closer to winter time than everybody else.
yeah. Did you never go there?
Um, I've Ted Van Vleck invited me down to his games in
Yeah,
northern Texas last year, but I was too busy with work to go down, so I missed that opportunity.
uh,
But I haven't been to a games in. I don't think I've ever thrown any games in Texas.
contact with George McLaren.
George McLaren, yeah, yeah, he hasn't been throwing. He's threatening to come back to the
Yeah,
club and start
yeah,
throwing again
yeah.
because he was kind of
A
instrumental in.
musician.
Huh?
He was a musician.
He's done a lot of things since he got the
Yeah, that's
his world
fun.
championship title.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, I got my title, I'm gone. So he does this, that, and
Yeah,
everything else. And
yeah.
but yeah, it's he came up just to see us at Springfield one time just to say hi, but he had some health issues. I think he's finally got on top of now. So
uh,
he and his I don't know if his brother's going to get back into it too, but his brother was involved too. But hopefully George will come back and do
uh,
it. But I usually text him every once in a while just to see how he's doing. But I haven't seen him for over a year.
okay. But you knew
And as
did
a matter of fact, I just we just had the we have an awards banquet for the game for the Gateway Caberman every year,
yeah.
and we just had the one in January, and I got the George McLaren Award. They called it. It was
Oh,
basically the
you have it.
person. Yeah, I have it this year. The George McLaren Award. They spelled my name wrong, but everybody does. But it was for the person, the thrower in the club that has the best marks in whatever category they're in, masters, lightweights, women's, whatever. So that was a nice surprise. So George McLaren's spirit is alive and well in the club, and yeah, there's rumors that he's coming back sometime. But he did a lot to help establish the club and get it
Yeah,
going at the place
yeah.
that we used to practice at, and now they've got a new location.
But what about your name? They spell it wrong. Abbott
Oh,
with two
Brett.
D's. D's.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, people sometimes don't get two B's or two T's. I understand it's no big deal, uh, but a lot of people go from Brent to Brett, Brett, without the N in it. So
Okay.
Brett,
Yeah.
and so it's on the but it's on the plaques on the walls and everything. And frankly, my mother-in-law called me Brett for like 2 to 3 years before she finally started calling me by my regular name. So it's a kind of a family joke.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brett just sounds wrong after being called Brent all my life. I'm like, it's an N. Just put an N in there. Brent.
Okay. I'm glad I'm doing that. Brand.
Yeah, yeah.
Brand.
You've never done it.
Brand.
It's like I remember when Sven would call me Franklin, um, kind of out of spite. Not out of spite, but he's like, "Well, that's your first name." And I go, "Yeah, that's true. Franklin is my first name, but I've always gone by
Want someone in your
well, Brent."
family?
Yeah. So my mother's choice of names for me was Brent, so that became
Yeah.
my middle name. My father's name is Frank, and he also idolized Benjamin Franklin. So
Okay.
his choice for me was Franklin. So Franklin Brent Abbott. But my parents got divorced when I was, before I was one, and so I went with my mother. So I was called Brent, since I could remember. So she won that battle after all. So that's why I go by Brent or officially F Brent or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
I idolize Benjamin
Brand
Franklin as
sound,
well.
Brand
Hmm?
sounds good. Brand sounds
Yeah,
good.
simple.
It's
One
easier
one
to say
syllable.
Franklin.
Yep,
How you doing, Franklin?
exactly. It
Yeah,
sounds funny to me too. But
yeah.
and when I'm going through emails and spam and junk mail, whenever someone says "Dear F" or "Dear Franklin," then I know that they don't. They may pretend to know me, but if they use the name Franklin, my first
Yeah.
name, I know that they don't know me, and I don't have to take them seriously. So it's a way to filter that out. But when I travel, I always got to remember to use my first name, because it's on my passport, and you know,
Ah.
and they don't mess around when you travel. They got to have the right first name.
Oh yeah. 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 I just had 2 weeks ago a new passport
Oh yeah,
for 10 years now.
10 years. There you
Yeah.
go. Travel all the
Yeah.
games. So I'll look for extra games for you to come over to and there maximize your time. So I'm taking that action. I'm taking action to get you your new fork. It's going to be, and then when you're here during the weekend here, we'll work on Chief specifically so that you can take advantage of that window in Europe where nobody's really good at sheaf and you can
Yeah.
be really good at it and kick everyone's ass. So we'll get you really good in the sheaf before
Yeah.
Europe fully adopts the sheaf, and then you can take advantage of that learning curve on everybody else.
How high did you throw now? You have a
Um,
lighter.
I think well, typically we still throw the 16, so I think 29 is the best I got at Worlds, um, and then at
How heavy
Springfield
is
Games,
how heavy is the bag
six-
for 60
16,
plus? 16.
16, right? And then I threw. They had us do the 12 pounder at Springfield because I don't know. They're thinking about going to that for old guys. I'm fine either way, but I think I got 32 or close to 33 with a lighter bag. But
Yeah.
I've been throwing 16 for years. After I got an A's. I remember you asked about favorite games. It's one of them. We went up to Estes Park. Is it Estes Park? Yeah, like a ski resort area in Colorado, and it's one of the times when I would do an A games on one day. They'd have a games 2 day games, and they'd have an A on. I could compete in A in one day and Masters the next. And so this is one where I threw A's on the first day, and I won it, and I got like what did I get? I got 29 or 30 with the 20-pound sheaf.
Hmm.
And then the next day did the Masters, and boy, I was a little sore in the morning, but I only got second in the Masters. It was a handicap system, but and through the 16-pound.
A handicap
So
system.
yeah, they have a handicap system in that for the Masters, so that like whatever age you are, you're throwing against your 5-year age bracket, so that a 60-year-old can throw against a 40-year-old, and
Okay.
then they judge it a handicap system like like golf or something. They compare your throws to the world records in your age bracket, and you get percentage points. Kind of, it's decathlon scoring. That way, you can compete against people because in the masters, you have a masters class, and you can't afford to have as many masters age groups as you do in a world championships.
Yeah.
So here, they just have one masters class, and you got a guy that's 60 years old throwing against a 40-year-old. So you're throwing against your world records in your age group, and whoever ends up with the overall better percentage points does better. So there was an older guy that beat me. It's kind of funny. I win the A's the first day, and then I take second in Masters the second day. You think it sounds kind of funny, but yeah, I'd always love those games where I could do A's and Masters on opposite days in the games. Get full
Yeah.
advantage, take full advantage of a competition by doing that. And people thought I was silly, but I never got hurt. But the first throws in the morning on the second day, that was a little sore, especially hammers.
Did you
Those,
ever had a injury? A big.
no, not really. I mean, I dealt several years ago with some arthritis in my right shoulder,
Yeah.
and I got cortisone 2 cortisone shots over the period of probably 5 years, and it's good now. I mean, I still feel it
Yeah.
sometimes, but it I could throw, but hammers were the problem.
Yeah.
Now I'm back. I can throw hammers, so I'm very
But
fortunate that
but
something healed up.
was that a Highland Games issue or
Yeah,
just
no, it's
your
just an
age? Yeah.
old
Old
man
man stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
who knows? Maybe I got arthritis in there because I've been throwing for 3 decades or something. But I was very glad because usually they don't get better. You have to keep putting cortisone shots in, but I think the shots help. reduced the swelling, and whatever healed up, healed up. So
Mm.
I'm very I feel very blessed that I'm able to still throw hammers because that was what hurt the most with that. I could do everything else, but hammers was very painful. But now it's all good. I have no excuses anymore. I never got any real injuries from the games. I don't think.
Doing good.
Yeah, there was one time on my foot a couple years ago. I was spinning the stone, and my foot kind of did something, and it still
Yeah.
hurts. I don't know what it is, but there's nothing that holds me back. I never
L-
never figured out what that was.
Uh,
Go ahead.
After the last injury, I asked, well, how long does it take? And she said, 2 or 6 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, the Florida Masters were there. So I thought, wow, I can throw. I couldn't throw anything. I couldn't even pick up my glass. So
Mm.
nothing at all. So
There was one caber related incident. I was at my daughter's Covenanter games, and I was judging um, at her games in Pennsylvania. And I'd say it's a caber. It wasn't. I wasn't carrying it. I was judging, and the guy in front of me, who I was judging, I was following him close, right, and was watching. And all of a sudden, he decided to dump it, and I didn't know he was dumping it. And so it came right back down, and I deflected it a little bit, but it hit me in the head, and
hey,
so I should have been paying a little bit more attention. But I
yeah.
give him a little more room for because I didn't know he was dumping it right away. I wasn't watching good enough, I guess, and everybody scared my daughter. Your father's been hit by a caber, and it wasn't anything. It was just a good thing that it hit me in the head and nowhere else, so it couldn't injure me too bad.
Uh, but
But yeah,
if
I've been very fortunate being
yeah, yeah.
not having injuries and stuff like
Oh,
that.
but if there were no Highland game, what else should you do? You
Can you,
think?
huh?
What else should you do? You think?
Boy, I probably think of something physical to do. Um, maybe strongman games. I don't know.
Uh,
Something like that. We got
I
plenty of other things to do with.
I don't know either. Maybe something masters shot put or something like
Yeah,
that.
masters track and field maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh,
But the thing about track and field I found out is that they don't uh, track and field people that come into the Highland Games. They talk about how the Highland Games is a lot more friendly and welcoming, and there's a fellowship.
yeah,
And I'm not interested in going to some place just to compete if there's not a camaraderie or fellowship because that's not
uh,
fun for me.
no, no. For me also. Hmm. Yeah,
But yeah, I've got plenty of things to do. But yeah, it would be a less bright world without the Highland Games, I think. And I'll help look up some games for you, and
yeah,
I'll have a Abbott Rivers fork ready for you for some pre-games training, and then some games, some things. We'll get you some respectable sheaf scores. I remember at was it New York, right? It was the first time I was instructing you on sheaf.
yeah.
Right? The
With
games,
Ryan.
the day of the games. That's kind of like when I think my first worlds, but you
the
did good. You
morning,
did
the
respectable.
morning, the morning before.
Yeah, I was.
I did a 24.
That's amazing for
Yeah,
first one.
yeah,
So I'm taking partial credit for being a good coach.
yeah. With your Frisian toe.
That's it. Oh, that reminds me. Before I let you go, I gotta.
Oh yeah.
And just so you know, I'm serious about my support for Friesland and being the composer of the Frisian national anthem. I should sing the national anthem for you if you want.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
O Friesland, the country of my birth. O Friesland, the men of mighty girth. To you, Viva.
Thank you very much.
Remember, remember in Iceland, you had me sing at the Hans. Look at
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is that?
What an idiot.
It's so funny.
Uh, Hans Hans likes idiots.
Well, I like being a fool sometimes. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Why not? Uh, Franklin Brent Abbott. It
Yep.
was an honor to have you, two-time Masters World Champion. I wish you all the best for this season, and we see each other in May.
Hmm.
And thank you for this part too.
Not no problem. I just realized I should have worn my Zilstra Abbott game shirt for the interview and stuff. So
I have it here.
got it. There you go. Show that. There you go. World Tour. Abbott Zilstra World
World
Tour.
Tour. Abbott with two D's.
With two T's, two B's, and an N
uh,
in Brent.
uh,
I'm just
I
skipping
know.
for planning.
I know. So I try to be there. I try to you know I don't think I can make Mississippi. I'm not throwing that well. My numbers are not that good.
All
Yeah,
right. I'm glad you're mostly healthy. That's good.
I am. So
All right.
say hello to everyone
We
who
will.
knew who knows you.
Everybody misses you and ask about you, and they ask about Mr. Stegeman as well. Please give him our best.
I will. I will. And also to Dick and Dan. And I don't know the Icelandic name again.
Ferdinand, or just Ferdy.
Dick and Dan?
Dick and Dan and Ferdinand. We call him Ferdy, or I call him other things depending on how he's acting.
You
He's
foolish
he's half
idiot.
yeah, he's like half the size of the Clydesdale, but he still picks fights with him and tries to boss him around.
Yeah. I
They're
don't
like,
know I don't know where it was. We were a couple of weeks ago we were somewhere and we saw the same horses you have.
oh, Clydesdales.
Yeah. 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 Funny.
Yeah, they're you don't see them a whole lot around, um, but they're big in Canada. These are ones that came down from Canada. The other big draft horses that you see around here are the Belgians, and they're mostly like a yellow or a
Uh,
brown horse. And the Amish uh, people use those for farm work from all across the country.
well, thank you very much.
All right, good seeing you, my brother. Anytime.
Thanks. Thanks, my
Bye.
good friend.
Absolutely.